EggsHell is my graphic design senior thesis project. I have always been a kind of do-it-yourself kind of guy. I've even made some little animations to promote the do-it-yourself mindset. I believe that people can accomplish a lot more than they think they can. They just don't test themselves and try to push themselves to see how far they can go. And I believe that people can do a lot more than they think, and they need to do it. So that's what I did. So for my project, I wanted to do something really big and grand to where all my classmates and friends would be like, there's no way I would be able to do that. And then I would tell them like, actually you can. I'm not doing anything super technical or anything, you know, really super expertly. Like, I'm using very basic video editing equipment. You know, you can get these video editing equipment free. Don't need a supercomputer, I'm doing it all on my laptop. You don't need a super fancy expensive camera, I'm just using a little point and shoot camera. You know, it's nothing you can't do. You just gotta have the imagination and determination to sit down and do this. So, me being interested in motion design and visuals and stuff like that, I wanted to make an entire short film all by myself, and something that would normally take, you know, an entire team of people to do something. So I figure I'd make an action movie, and that would be kind of my, also a personal tip of the hat to the action genre of movies and video games. Something I've grown up and enjoyed, and it's made me kind of who I am. And along with that, I've always enjoyed being the dork and put smiley faces on random things. Just putting those two dots and a line can give something that's, you know, lifeless and inanimate, like emotions and feeling in a life. Like, just put two dots and a face on anything, it'll make it come to life. So I figured I would use some kind of object with faces like that as the characters. And I thought of using eggs, it just came to me randomly, and I was like, that'd be perfect because they're easy to draw on, and, you know, they got hard shells with all this nasty yolk inside that'd make for an awesome death. First things first, I had to do extensive research. I would sit down, watch all of the old action movies that I loved, kind of get a feel for how the camera angles are, how they're shot, the pacing and everything. Just got a feel for how that is. Basically, I also want to watch these movies again because they're awesome. Then I sat down to type up a script and draw characters and the set designs. I wanted the story to have a twist, not just a typical gladiator movie, so I added some sci-fi love to it. But I won't ruin that, like what happens, in case you're one of those people that actually watches the making of something before you actually watch the movie. Yeah, here I'm typing up the script for the movie, so I know kind of the dialogue that needs to be said and how the movie's going to move forward. So I'm penning out a script, and then I'm also looking up images of gladiators so I can like kind of have an idea of what I want to do for the armor for the gladiators. And there's a lot of cool different armor pieces, a lot of futuristic ones, but I'll be pretty limited as to what I can do since I'm doing aluminum foil on eggs. Originally I had planned the eggs to have hands and feet. Right now I'm drawing out the different characters for the movie. So I have your bad guys, your good guys, your kings, your audience members. I have a bunch of facial expressions I've drawn out for the different audience members and for like the different gladiators as they fight and whatever. So these are all character designs. But then after failing to get the hands and arms to look right, just look clunky and out of place, I decided to go without them and just make them be more egg-like. So I spent hours and hours and hours over several days cleaning out these eggs. I would poke 2 holes in them and then blow out the yolk out the other hole, and it was a very nasty and disgusting process, especially if you blew too hard into it. Blah. But I didn't want the eggs to get all rotten and stinking in the kitchen, so something I had to do. And then I would, of course, wash out the eggs with soapy water to get rid of all the bacteria and E. coli. So then I draw the faces. I wanted there to be different types of characters, like the rival eggs, having these tattoos for war paint, all the kings and their rich jewelry, the guardsmen with their painted on black masks, and just wanted a variety of people. And here I'm painting the tattoos on all the different characters, all the bad tribal gladiators. Their race is known to have tattoos and everything, which I'm kind of leaving up to a mystery as to why the main character has a tattoo also. So that'll make, you know, people wonder, like, you know, does the main character have some kind of ties with this other group or what? Here I'm adding some little sparkles. I just found some of these little guys at Walmart, and just adding something so they look more rich and everything and separate themselves from the normal eggs. Here I'm working on storyboarding, and this basically paces out the sequences of events that happens in the movie. So like I can just read the script and then follow these storyboards to kind of get the angles and ideas I had in mind. While I was working on the characters, I also started building a set. I would measure and cut out all the lengths of cardboard, and then I'd spray paint them with this black spray paint stuff that had this rough, rocky texture to it that ended up working great. Then I would Dremel out the egg crates, because then I'd like hot glue them together to make the stadium seating where the audience would sit.
To Hillary Clinton's pantsuits, maybe, what Lois is wearing?
She likes brown.
It's a double-breasted suit.
Then came the painful task of putting them all together, trying to get everything to fit in properly with each other. But again, that was just sitting down and busting all that out. Once all that was assembled, I set up the backdrop of the sky to make it look like they were outside rather than in my kitchen. And then I added some little flags, and then added the blue sand, and then that pretty much wrapped it all up. That's where the bulk of the movie takes place, is in the pit. And the pit being the bottom floor of the arena. So I go to Walmart to get sand for the Coliseum. I was just going to use the normal gray or tan or whatever sand there is. And I get there and they don't have any. All they have is this Crayola blue sand. And I was like, great, that's not what I need. So I turn around and start to walk out, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of like an alien planet anyway. I mean, the characters are eggs, so who says the sand can't be blue over there? And then I got to thinking more and more. I was like, wait a minute, blue sand freaking rocks. So afterwards, you know, like, actually, yeah, the blue sand would contrast nicely with the dark color of the Coliseum, so that's the reason for the blue sand. For the ending, I actually filmed it under my desk by my computer tower. I used a red Japanese lantern to light the scene to give it this eerie red glow, and I used 2 green glow sticks to help add some different kind of ambient lighting to it. One of which ended up having a hole in it. I didn't realize it as I was shaking it up until I went into the bathroom later that night and my shirt was glowing, and I was like, God dang it. The stasis chamber was nothing more than just some textures I got for free online, printed out, and glued them onto a half-dozen egg carton. Now came the time to start principal photography. I used my little Pentax camera, and I basically had 2 ways of setting it up. One would be this little matchbox. This is my dolly I've invented. It's basically a matchbox with like some paper that's wrapped around so that way sand won't get on it as I slide it across the sand. And it's a good eye level for the eggs. So I just set the camera on top and just slowly move it around the sand, and that's my expensive dolly. But then I had to bring out the big guns for some of the more like higher up but angled lower point of views, and for that I built the Cyclops. It's an old soldering stand that I attached to a base plate of a camera tripod, and then I would screw that into the camera, bottom of the camera. That worked out great. So then it was just a matter of time of pumping out all these stills. And I would set up the scene, take a picture, move the characters a little, take another picture, move the characters some more, take another picture, and then I would just keep doing that forever, it seemed like. And the bloody scenes were especially hard because I would have to put some of the yolk in a straw and hold the straw off camera, drip some yolk, take a picture, drip some more yolk, take a picture, drip some more yolk, take a picture. And it was very tedious, especially because you're like bent over the table, and it was kind of hard on my back, but it was worth it, I thought. And eventually I got tired of just doing the bloody scenes in a separate area because I was trying to keep the nasty sand away from the good sand. But it turns out like the sand acted like kitty litter and just would like absorb everything into clumps. So it was actually fairly easy to clean up. I would eventually just use a fork and a spoon to kind of just scoop it up. Then I recorded the voices, and all I had was this cheap little $8 mic I got at Walmart. I use it on the computer if I'm chatting online or whatever, so it's nothing expensive. And I've always had a great admiration for voice actors like Dan Castellaneta and Seth MacFarlane that has like hundreds of voices in them. So I wanted to try my chops at doing all these different voices. Well, basically what I have here, I am recording the sound. I'm doing all the voices for the show. And basically I'm just using a cheap little mic that I got for like $8 at Walmart. And then I made same little rig I used for filming my camera, but I rigged up a wire frame and I used just like a napkin I got at McDonald's and taped it up. And I talk through that, and that collects like my spit or any kind of like the air coming out of my mouth, so it keeps the mic from picking that up. And then I'm using Adobe Sound Booth to record everything, and then I use it to alter my voice so I get all the different voice characters. And basically I just sit here, read the script, and then I digitally alter all my voices, and that's all there is to that. Doing Phoenix's voice was particularly rough on my throat. The coughing you hear Raul doing as he's coughing up like yolk, because that was really me coughing because my throat was jacked up. And so I just, as I was recording the voices, I was coughing, and I just used that cough for Raul. Want me throwing spears at you while I'm still blurry-eyed? Want me throwing spears at you while I'm still blurry-eyed? Want me throwing spears at you while I'm still blurry-eyed? For the narrator, I had originally tried using an Optimus Prime helmet I have, because it's got this voice modulator thing. But it didn't sound quite right. You could still hear me talking behind the modulated voice, and it just kind of wasn't what I was looking for. But it was a cool idea, and it kind of worked, but not what I was wanting. So I ended up just recording my voices, doubling up layers of it, and then changing the pitches on certain layers. That worked out great. I used Audacity. Audacity is a free program for that, and it works really well. For the main bad guy, I actually spoke into a cup.
Phoenix, it's time. We have to go now. Phoenix, it's time. We have to go now.
And that helped, gave this blocked, kind of echoey sound to my voice. And then I would further on edit that in Audacity or Sound Booth. While I was at it, I also recorded some sound effects of like eggs cracking or the rustling of sand, and just some other general sound effects I thought I need. I got a lot of the other clanging sound effects for free off of websites. Again, I didn't spend any money or anything, I found stuff for free. So after cleaning out gigs of hard drive space, I finally had enough room I could upload all these pics and audios to my laptop. I used After Effects just because it's really easy to change the timing for still images, but I mean any kind of like movie making program will allow you to do it, like iMovie and stuff can do it. Anywho, I just pretty much followed my script, layered out all the scenes the way it should be. I edited the music so it'd fit, and you know, it would go up during heightened, intense scenes. And I did the same thing with the audience crowd. Whenever like someone got stabbed or something and they really bust out cheering, I edited all that to fit with what was going on screen. I added in all the different sound effects. I mean, it was relatively easy. It was just really time consuming. It's like putting together a puzzle. You have all the pieces, you just got to put them where they belong, and so it takes a while. Then I designed the cover art for the DVD, the artwork that goes on the disc of the DVD, the poster, and voila, everything was done. I spent a lot of time and love on this project, but then again, anyone could spend this much time and effort and do something that they are really proud of. Like I'm really proud of this movie. They just gotta really put their time into it, say you're gonna do it, and then do it. Don't say you can't, because you won't then. I really enjoyed making this movie, and I hope you enjoy it.